He is now at gunpoint. There you see police are, it seems like they have been able to stop the driver of that vehicle. It appears the driver stopped underneath the overpass, underneath the bridge. As you can see, there are several police officers in that area. If you do live in this area, keep in mind this is going on. Stay indoors at this point, because we do know that driver is armed and dangerous. Right now, we know that this is, right now I've just been told this is in Allapattah. As you can see, that's the minivan that police were pursuing for quite some time right now. It is under the overpass. We can't make out whether or not the driver has been able to get out of his vehicle at this point, but you can see police officers are there, guns drawn. There are more than a dozen Miami-Dade police officers here. This all began, now it's, we're talking about Allapattah. However, this all began more than a half hour ago around the airport, Miami International Airport. This all began. We did see the driver cutting through some construction sites, going through water. Originally, once again, he was in a dark-colored SUV BMW. About 10-15 minutes ago, we did see him stop another vehicle, which is a car that you're seeing right now, a dark-colored minivan at gunpoint, demanded the driver get out of the vehicle. He jumps into that car and again begins to drive erratically around the city of Miami. Again, this is Northwest Miami-Dade in Allapattah. The chase, it seems, it's come to an end. However, the driver, the suspect that police have been pursuing for quite some time this morning, is still inside of that vehicle. It's still unclear if there is someone else in that car as well. We do know the driver was told to get out at gunpoint. So we do know the driver, the original driver of that car, is safe. So again, as we continue to look at these live pictures, this is, yes, this is a police chase that it seems police have been able to stop the driver that they've been pursuing for quite some time. And now the police officers are getting closer. They're getting closer to the vehicle. The vehicle. These are live pictures right now in Northwest Miami-Dade. Okay, so once again, these are live pictures out of Allapattah, a car chase that's been going on for quite some time now throughout the city of Miami. There you see the bridge there, North River Drive. It is in the upright position. There's a type of boat going by. However, the vehicle that they were chasing early this morning is underneath the overpass. The driver seems to have stopped. Now, it's still unclear exactly why police were pursuing this driver to begin with, but we can tell you it's been going on for at least a half hour. This all began near Miami International Airport. We did see the driver originally in a dark-colored SUV BMW driving erratically through the streets of Miami. We saw him on the Palmetto, then he jumped onto the Gratney, then we saw him go through some construction sites in Northwest Miami-Dade, and now here he is in Allapattah. More than a dozen Miami-Dade police officers are surrounding that vehicle. There you see him, guns drawn with shields, trying to get that driver to get out of the vehicle. So once again, Bianca Peters is coming now with some more information on this chase that began more than a half hour ago in the city of Miami.
So the little street that they're on right now, is Northwest North River Drive.
This is Northwest North River Drive. It is the little side street there where you see a lot of the boats and the bridge. Right now, again, in the upright position, which could be a good thing because traffic has stopped at this point. So the vehicle that police have been chasing is underneath Northwest 27th Avenue. Under the bridge. Again, the driver of that vehicle remains in the car at this point. Now we're trying to figure out if someone else is in that vehicle with him, because this is not the original car the driver was in to begin with when the chase began. Right. So right now we don't have a good vantage point of that vehicle. So as you see, police officers are scouring the area. I've been told right now that it's still unclear whether or not the driver is still in the car or whether he could have bailed out of the vehicle because he was underneath the bridge. So our cameras from Chopper 4 were not able to see if indeed that did happen. So right now you see along North River Drive there, you see a lot of boats, there's a lot of water, so they're scouring that whole area at this point. So once again, if you're just joining us, these are live pictures right now, a police chase in the city of Miami, in Allapattah near North River Drive, and this is a situation that's going on right now. Now it's actually a standoff. They're looking for this driver. It may appear that the driver may have bailed out of the vehicle. So they believe that he may have jumped into the water, and that's the reason why they're just scouring that area. There are more than a dozen Miami-Dade police officers just trying to find this guy. Again, we're trying to get information as to why exactly they were chasing him in the first place. Again, this began more than a half hour ago near Miami International Airport. The driver just driving erratically around the city of Miami, on the Palmetto, also on the Gratney, making his way through a construction site. We did see him going through a lot of flooding waters. At one point, we did believe that the police officers stopped him and he just took off again. Then he carjacked another vehicle at gunpoint, making the driver get out of the car. He jumped into the car and took off once again. A few minutes later, getting into Allapattah, underneath the bridge on Northwest 27th Avenue, and that's where it seems the police chase came to an end. However, now we're going from a police chase to a police standoff, searching for this suspect who is armed and dangerous. We did see him get out of his vehicle and at gunpoint carjack the driver of that second vehicle that we saw just a few minutes ago that is now parked underneath the bridge there on Northwest 27th Avenue. So again, if you do live in this area, keep in mind, stay indoors, because we do know that this driver is armed and dangerous.
They shut down 27th.
Northwest 27th Avenue, I've just been told, is shut down as they continue to search for this driver that led police on a pursuit for more than a half hour around major highways, the Palmetto, the Gratney, Allapattah, and this is chopper video of the scene that's going on right now. So it seems our chopper needs to possibly refuel. Our chopper has been up for quite some time. That's why the image is coming in and out, but we can tell you that this is in the area of North River Drive and the bridge on Northwest 27th Avenue. Drivers, keep in mind that area is completely blocked off as they continue to search for this driver that led police on a chase for more than a half hour in the city of Miami. We're trying to get information as to why police were pursuing this driver in the first place. We do know that he's armed. We did see him getting off the vehicle and carjacking a driver who was in a dark-colored minivan there around Allapattah, then continuing on his chase. It is, right now it's 8 a.m. We're in the height of the morning rush hour. So if you are heading out and you are heading in this direction, keep in mind there is a lot of police presence there in Allapattah. Once again, this is North River Drive and Northwest 27th Avenue where the bridge is. We are being told that bridge will remain up while police continue searching that area for this suspect who is armed. Again, we're live here on CBS 4. It's it's 8:08 this morning. So if you are heading out the door this morning, keep in mind, and if you are heading in this direction, a police pursuit that began more than a half hour ago. It began in the city of Miami, then going through Miami International Airport. This all began with a driver who was armed in a dark-colored brown BMW SUV taking police on a chase. Major highways, the Palmetto, the Gratney. We did see police pursuing him in that area. He was driving erratically, weaving in and out of traffic in those areas. Fortunately, we did not see him crashing into any other vehicles, which is a good thing, incredibly so when we're talking about rush hour traffic. A lot of vehicles out in the street right now. So again, you're taking a look at pictures of dozens of police officers right now. They're looking into the water there on North River Drive. They do believe this driver, who is armed and dangerous, he may have jumped into the water. We did see him carjack a driver. We did see him carjack a driver at gunpoint. So again, they're asking folks who do live in the area to stay indoors. If you are heading in that direction, keep in mind, try to avoid. As you can see, the bridge is in the upright position, and I'm sure it will remain that way until they try and find the driver. We're trying to figure out exactly why they were following this driver to begin with. There you see Miami-Dade police officers on the scene. We saw them earlier with their guns drawn, and it's quite the scene out there. So again, this is all happening in Allapattah on North River Drive and Northwest 27th Avenue. We can tell you that driver coming to a stop underneath the bridge. From our vantage point, you cannot see it. It seems the driver got out of the car and just ran off. They believe he may have jumped into the water, but as you can see, there's a lot of debris in that area. There are a lot of boats. There are some houseboats in the area as well. So they are continuing to search for this driver, who again is armed. So it seems like the driver drove underneath the overpass right there, or the bridge on North River Drive. And there you see police officers, guns drawn, with their shields up, looking for this man. Again, we're trying to get information as to exactly why they were chasing him in the first place. But we did see him earlier this morning driving erratically in and out of traffic. Now I'm just getting information right now, and bear with us because this is all breaking news. We're live. We saw a silver car pulling right after the dark SUV underneath the bridge. So possibly someone may have helped him to maybe escape and drive off. So right now it's still unclear. This is all new information. It is all coming into our newsroom as we speak right now. These are pictures of Allapattah from Chopper 4. Again, it is 8:12 this morning. Look at the traffic. Right now it is rush hour traffic, so only making matters worse this police pursuit. So again, this all started more than a half hour ago near Miami International Airport. We did see, it started, I'm getting word that it started more than a half hour ago. It actually started at 7 o'clock this morning near Miami International Airport. That driver in a dark brown BMW SUV driving on the Palmetto Expressway. We saw him getting onto the Gratney. He was driving erratically, weaving in and out of traffic. Miraculously, no one has been hurt. No one was hurt during the pursuit, but we did see dozens of Miami-Dade police officers on its tail following this guy. Then maybe a half hour, 45 minutes later, he stops another vehicle, a dark-colored minivan, and at gunpoint forces the driver to get out of the vehicle. He jumps into the vehicle and takes off in that car. Minutes later, we see police officers on his tail once again, and this is the video that you're seeing right now. This is, again, the area of North River Drive and Northwest 27th Avenue, where that driver, who is armed, driving underneath the bridge, the overpass, stops the vehicle and gets out of the car. Again, we did not see him getting out of the vehicle because where he parked his car, but we did see police officers scouring the area right now. As you can see, there are a lot of boats there. There are a few houses in that area. The bridge on Northwest 27th Avenue is up at this point. Traffic is not being allowed to get by because of the situation that is going on right now. So keep in mind, if you are heading in that direction, there's a lot of police presence. We are in the middle of rush hour traffic. It is 8:13 right now, and there you see dozens of police officers in the area trying to find this driver that has been leading police on a chase as of 7 o'clock this morning. We did see. So again, we were told that we did see a silver car pull out after the driver pulled underneath the bridge. This was a silver car possibly helping the driver get away. Again, this is from what we've seen. None of this has been confirmed. But we do believe, and we are pretty certain, that the driver is no longer inside of that vehicle. He parked his car underneath the bridge. There you see it. There's the dark-colored vehicle, which he carjacked the driver of that vehicle at gunpoint, making the driver get out of the car and taking off in that vehicle. So again, this has been going on for quite some time, for more than an hour now. It all began at 7 o'clock this morning. We have been closely monitoring this as it all began. And of course, we're here to keep you updated on the latest information. So again, this is all happening in Allapattah on North River Drive, the bridge on Northwest 27th Avenue. As you can see, it is in the upright position. Drivers are not getting by. They're not letting any drivers get through that area right now. So if you do live in the area, stay indoors. They were getting a better picture, a clearer picture of that vehicle. Yep, the door's open, and the door's open, correct? The door's open, and the driver definitely took off. So we did see Miami-Dade police officers looking at the water there on the Miami River, trying to find this guy. But again, it's so unclear if this suspect is even here in the area. Again, we did see a silver car pull up under the bridge, possibly helping him to take off. So right now, we are closely monitoring the story. There you see police officers on the bridge. City of Miami police officers are there as well, assisting Miami-Dade police that began this chase at around 7 o'clock this morning. Police pursuit. There you see the traffic on Northwest 27th Avenue and North River Drive. A lot of drivers trying, there you see Northwest 27th Avenue drivers trying to make U-turns to get out of the way, but at this point it seems some of them are just stuck there. So keep that in mind. If you are heading in this direction, it is quite messy out there. There are more than a dozen police officers talking about Miami-Dade police as well as City of Miami police that were on this guy's tail. And again, here's a look at the video of the carjacking. There you see the guy dressed all in black with a gun opening the door of that dark-colored mini SUV, pulling the driver out of the car. There he goes. He's pulling him out of the car. He gets into the car and takes off. He takes off, leading police once again on a chase in Northwest Miami-Dade, trying to make out the make and model of that vehicle. But we're pretty certain that no one else was in that car. It's just the driver that was in the car that was pulled out at gunpoint by the suspect that police have been following since 7 o'clock this morning. And the carjacking happened maybe about 25 minutes ago. This all happened there. Then getting here to North River Drive and Northwest 27th Avenue, the bridge right there is up. They're not allowing traffic to pass by. The driver then finally comes to a stop underneath the bridge and just bolts running out of the vehicle. And there you see, that's the driver inside of the vehicle that he carjacked. Again, it's pretty amazing how there's not a lot of traffic in that area. Again, this is in Allapattah, and he is driving to that area where we see on the other side of the screen, which is on Northwest 27th Avenue, where soon, eventually, he will come to a stop underneath the bridge. Again, this is a dark-colored minivan. The driver of that vehicle is armed. He is dangerous. And police have been on this guy's tail since 7 o'clock this morning. Still unclear why it is that police were pursuing him in the first place, but there you see Northwest 27th Avenue, that bridge in the upright position. Traffic is not getting through because Miami-Dade police, along with the city of Miami, they are searching for this driver who is armed. We just saw a few minutes ago how he was carjacking the driver of that minivan, getting out of the car he was originally in, which was a dark-colored brown BMW. Now, of course, we'll stay on the story and bring you more updates as they become available.
The home sale. Hurry, Thursday through Monday at JCPenney.
For you, it's always leap over look, now over later, and pause, not even in your vocabulary. So when a cold sore tingle strikes, you act on it. Only Abreva can heal a cold sore in as little as 2.5 days when used at the first sign. It starts to work immediately to block the virus and protect healthy cells. Nothing heals a cold sore faster. And because Abreva acts on it, you can too. Act on it with Abreva.
My bank account says I have zero funds. Where's all my money?
It's Newman versus Newman.
I was for sure hacked. That was my dad's doing.
You're starting to lose everything. And Abbott versus Abbott.
We do not roll over and let him win.
They took your bait.
Billy Abbott strikes again.
Get ready.
I'm not letting my dad get away with this.
For war.
Game on.
The Young and the Restless. Weekdays, CBS Daytime.
He's shooting, and the folk forward deck.
What's better than tailgating? Winning big with your Lotto, Fantasy 5, or Fast Play ticket in the Game Day Cash promotion. You can win a new Lazy Days Winnebago motorhome, 200
In Allapattah, those of you that are familiar with this area, there you see the bridge on Northwest 27th Avenue. The traffic in that area, not a fun place to be at right now because it is all backed up. A lot of the drivers really, at this point, have nowhere to go because, as you can see, the bridge is in the upright position, and it's been that way for, I want to say at this point, since 8 o'clock this morning. For
about an hour at this point.
For about an hour at this point. But the problem with this man is right now you see he's holding himself with his right arm, but he is not showing his left arm. And police are asking him to show his arm, and he is not showing his arm. So
we saw earlier that he had what appeared to be a weapon when he took that second SUV. So it's unknown if he is still armed or not as he tries to either turn himself in or get away from police, which will probably not happen because he's completely surrounded at this point.
At this point, there's really nowhere for him to go. As you can see, police are surrounding the entire area. You have Miami-Dade police. You also have City of Miami.
We can see both hands there. It looks like he has nothing
now.
in his hands.
Yeah.
And this again, Maribel, we saw this earlier when we were taking wide views from Chopper 4 over the scene. It's a very residential area on one side of this bridge, even though it's right up against the Miami River, and we might think of the Miami River as an industrial area. There are homes that are not far from there. People who were trying to leave this morning to get to work, and they came across this scene with 27th Avenue, the northwest section of it, right along or near the river there, closed off as police worked this scene. And again, we're showing you on your right-hand side images from a little earlier this morning of Chopper 4 following this man in the stolen SUV. Again, this is the second vehicle he ran from police in. The original one was a BMW SUV, which he ditched for this one. And then on the left, again, the live picture as to where we are right now. Police trying to corral this guy and tell him to surrender,
to turn himself in. Absolutely. As you can see, there's really nowhere for him to go. We did see both hands, so it does not appear that he is armed or that has a gun at this point. However, we still don't know because he definitely did have a gun. We did see when he carjacked that driver at gunpoint, forcing the driver to get out of the vehicle. We don't know exactly what he's telling police, but he's really giving them a hard time.
Yeah, it is a good sign that he is communicating with them, maybe negotiating some sort of terms of surrender. I don't like it when he goes underwater because we can't see what he's doing down there. And even though we saw that he has nothing in his hands, we did see what he was wearing earlier, and he was dressed all in black with what looked like some loose-fitting pants. You don't know if he has pockets and what he has in those pockets, etc. So
we have been hearing also that he's possibly wanted by the FBI. We have not been able to confirm that either. We've also been hearing that he could have an ankle monitoring device, and that's the reason why they were chasing him in the first place. I mean, this is all information that we're hearing. We have not been able to actually get this confirmed from FBI or from Miami-Dade police, but we can tell you that this all began at 7 o'clock this morning. Police pursuing this guy. There you see when he is carjacking that vehicle, he at gunpoint, forcing the driver out of that vehicle, and let's see if we can make out whether it was a male or a female getting out of it. It looks like
it's a female, and
a female elderly person.
Yeah,
possibly.
It looks like at one point she actually tried to get out of there because you see the car roll forward a little bit and then she gives up, which is probably a smart thing to do because again, this man is armed. You don't know what he's capable of, and he takes off as the original driver, the rightful driver of that car, just lets him have the car and he takes off. But again, he didn't get very far because we're talking about less than 2 hours later. Right now, he's completely surrounded by police, and not very far from where he ditched that car. Again, Northwest 27th Avenue and North River Drive.
There's also a boat yard in the Allapattah neighborhood, which is a boat yard on one side, and as you were mentioning, there are also homes in that area. So for those folks who do live in that area, do not come out, do not try to see what's going on there. You see more than a dozen police officers, guns drawn, trying to negotiate with this guy so he could get out of the water because, as you can see right now, there's just water surrounding him, and there's nowhere for him to go at this point.
It may be just difficult for him to get out of the water. I'm just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt here because it's easy to jump in, but to get out there, it looks like a pretty steep. He'd have to climb over that fence or try to get out through those mangroves there. Those trees on the left. But yes,
and the problem is he's not raising his hands. Police are asking him, put your arms up, and he's just not obeying police at this point. So again, the situation is here. We do know that he had a gun because we did see over Chopper 4 when he was carjacking that driver at gunpoint, forcing the driver to get out of the vehicle. So where is that gun at this point? We still do not know. Police are being very, very cautious with this man. It seems they are talking to him, trying to negotiate with him.
Not a good sign, though, that it seemed like he was shaking his head no. know there just a moment ago, and
he's just not giving in.
He goes under again, which is again not what you want to see. It looks like he's kicking down. This looks like his feet. So maybe he's trying to get under that structure there. It looks like that, there may be an area where he can get under that area there. Not sure where he's planning on going from here. And again, if you're just joining us, we're looking at this on a slight delay. We never know how these standoffs and chases end. And the last thing we want to do is put something inappropriate or extremely graphic on television. So there's a slight delay here, but we'll let you know everything that happens. We're looking at this just as you are on this delay.
And as you can see, the water there in that area is very murky, but we do see that he is using both of his arms at this point. However, he has not raised both of his arms up at the same time. He goes under the water, he's down there for a few seconds, then he comes right back up. And also, police were looking for this guy for quite some time since he ditched that car underneath the bridge there on Northwest 27th Avenue.
Yeah, he was hiding, able to hide. He was able to hide. There are a lot of boats in the air. There's a lot of debris. There's a lot of trees, and he finally popped up here in the water. He's holding on to that ledge, and he's just not giving in. And here's the deal: when you try to make a run for it and jump in the water, at some point you got to come up for air. So this guy, it's not like he could just swim forever under the water and get away. And of course, police weren't going to let up, and it seems like their persistence here so far has paid off. We're going to see how this turns out. But they stay on this guy. They have their weapons drawn. You see them, if you look at the bottom portion of your screen, they're on the bow of all of those boats, kneeling down, taking cover, weapons drawn, and it's being covered a little bit by our graphic there, but you can see all the police officers. They're pointing at this guy. We have seen them talking to the guy. At one point, we saw him shake his head no. He's gone under the water. He comes back up. He shows both hands. He puts one hand down and holds on with the other hand. So not really sure exactly how this negotiating is going right now, but
and he's surrounded. There's nowhere. And there's nowhere for him to go. As you can see when we see the big picture, there are police officers, there are cops on the boats, guns drawn. They're on the bridge. They're surrounding this guy. So at some point, he has to turn himself in and just give up. On one side of the screen, we're seeing that pursuit. There he is. That's the original car that he was in. It is a brown BMW. This is around
closer to 7 this morning, right?
The chase started at around 7 o'clock this morning, but there you see him like in a construction area, a lot of water in the area. At one point, we did think that he was going to get out of the vehicle because the police officers were surrounding him, but he just makes a U-turn, and once again, there you see police officers, guns drawn. I mean, this guy is
bold.
He's very bold. Look at him. There he goes.
He wasn't going to quit early.
Not quitting.
And I want to draw your attention back to the left here to the live, the slightly delayed picture from Chopper 4. It looks like he went underwater and has not come back up now for a bit of time. And in fact, you see some officers, if you look at the boats, there's an officer now in the back of the boat on the left. So it appears as they...
Like
he is back up now. Yep. He is back up now and splashing around. Okay.
Yeah.
He's there. They still have him in sight.
They still have him inside, and again, this water, as you can see, it's very murky. There are a lot of boats in the area. That's like a boat yard in that area there on North River Drive along the Miami River, and it's quite dark. It's murky, but they're keeping a close eye on this guy, and I don't think he's going to go very far. There you see police officers on land. They all have their guns drawn.
By the way, those are police boats.
They're on the beach. They're on the beach. They're on the bridge as well. Keeping a very close eye on this guy, as we mentioned earlier, very bold, armed, dangerous. Again, we're hearing that he may be wanted by the FBI. He may have an ankle monitoring device. And we're saying this because this is unconfirmed. However, we have been hearing that this could be a possibility.
It's something that you should definitely be warned and keep in mind if you're near this area.
Yeah.
You had mentioned earlier, stay indoors. You don't know how these things turn out. If you don't need to be outside in this area of Northwest 27th Avenue and North River Drive, don't be, because this is still developing and has been for quite some time, and this guy's resisting turning himself in, or is having a hard time getting out of there. But I imagine if he was willing to peacefully turn himself in, they would have snatched him out of the water by now.
We saw him earlier, just a few minutes ago. They were throwing like a floating device so he can grab it and maybe come in, but he's just not budging. He's not giving in. We did see him speaking with police officers, shaking his head. At one point he had one arm up, holding the ledge, but never have we seen both of his arms up. And I'm sure that's exactly what police want him to do. Both arms up and obviously surrender, because this has been going on already for quite some time. Again, this pursuit began at 7 o'clock this morning. We did see him driving erratically in that brown BMW SUV. We saw him on the Palmetto Expressway, then we saw him on the Gretny. And again, as I say, miraculously, no one was injured, because we're talking about the peak
roads,
of
during the
morning rush hour. So fortunately, no one has been injured. We also saw him carjacking another driver. It must have been maybe like 45 minutes to an hour after he was in the brown BMW SUV, stopping another vehicle and at gunpoint telling the driver, get out of the car. So this guy is, as you can see right now, he is just not giving in.
Yeah, he looks pretty defiant, and when we have the opportunity to see a close-up of his face, it doesn't look like somebody who is saying, all right, you got me, I'm sorry, let's get this over with. You know, we see him shaking his head, we see him kind of making facial expressions that appear to be very defiant, as this huge contingent of Miami-Dade police officers circle him and try to get him out of there. And you see that they have him covered on land, in the water, from above. They're at the base of the bridge. So it's not like he's going to get away.
And also you have a chopper, and police helicopters are also hovering up above. So this guy really he's not going anywhere. We see him going under the water for a few seconds, then coming back up, but at some point he does have to surrender.
There he is surfacing again.
We're not clear exactly what police are telling him and what he's telling police officers. We do have a crew that's trying to get to the scene, but because Northwest 27th Avenue, the bridge, has been in the upright position for an hour now, it's hard to get around that area. And again, adding the morning rush hour to all of this is only making matters worse. We did see a lot of cars just stuck there trying to make a U-turn and trying to get out. So right now, I mean, this is not the residential area of near the Miami River on Northwest 27th Avenue, because as you did mention, there is one side that is like a
more residential, the other
boat yard,
more
and the other side is residential area. So at this point, we do see several. Those are police boats that are there on the water. Each boat has police officers, guns drawn. You have Miami-Dade police officers. You also have City of Miami police that have been here surrounding this guy, and he's just not giving in.
This is both departments working together here, because again, this first initially started in Northwest Miami-Dade, unincorporated Northwest Miami-Dade County. So you had MDPD working that, and then now you have this finishing or ending up in the City of Miami. So you have City of Miami along with Miami-Dade Police working this. They've deployed their boats out there. They have their officers in bulletproof gear and guns drawn, and we'll have the chance here when Chopper 4 pulls out a little bit to see how intent these officers are on keeping their weapons aimed at this guy, because you just don't know. And as we look closely at here,
well, it's clear he's not holding a gun, because we just saw him switch out his arms. But we do know he's armed. We do know that he was armed at some point, because he did carjack a driver at gunpoint and force the driver to get out of the vehicle. But at this point, police aren't taking any chances with him.
It's almost like a game of chicken. Let's see who tires out first, and I can tell you it's not going to be those police officers.
Absolutely not.
So at some point this is going to come to an end, and we're going to stick with this here for a bit. You see one of the boats now pulling out. I don't know if it's going to go try to get maybe corner him a little closer, or it looks like it's actually maybe going away. But again, police just all over this guy.
I'm trying to negotiate with him.
Tries
so
to hang on.
They're talking to him and telling him, put both arms up. Put both arms up. There you see the police officer speaking with him, and next to another police officer on his knees with guns drawn. A very tense situation here happening in Allapattah. Again, for those of you that are just joining us, we're on seconds delay here, but this is what's going on in the area of Allapattah on Northwest 27th Avenue, North River Drive. And there you see, this is a situation of a suspect who was armed. We're not sure if he's still armed, and he led police on a chase. This all began at 7 o'clock this morning in Northwest Miami-Dade, going through Miami International Airport. Then we saw him in a construction site. At one point, we did believe that he was going to get out of the car, and at one point they were going to take him down, but he just made a U-turn and once again took off. Then a few minutes later, he stops the vehicle at gunpoint, tells the driver to get out of the car, forces that driver out of the car, gets into the vehicle, takes off, ending here. He drives underneath the bridge, the overpass on Northwest 27th Avenue. At that point, there was a boat that was making its way through, so the bridge went up at around 8 o'clock this morning, and it has remained up. After that happened, the driver took off, and for at least a half hour, police were looking for him everywhere in that area. Again, this is boat yard, but there are also some homes in that area on the other side of the Miami River.
And now he has surfaced, or keep surfacing and going underwater, and surfacing and going underwater. And you see the officers on the boats there with the weapons drawn. It looks like the boat on the left has the female officer near the bow of the boat. It looks like she's kind of handling the negotiations. You see her forcefully speaking to this guy, using her hands to gesture to him. But it doesn't seem like he's attempting to get out by either climbing the wall behind him or swimming towards the officers, which you think, there aren't many places you can go. It's either you swim to the boats where the police officers are, or you turn yourself in by jumping over the fence back there.
He's surrounded.
And allowing them to take you into custody. But
he's surrounded.
He's not doing that. He's just staying in the water, bobbing his head up over the water and then going back down and coming back up, and has been doing this for quite some time now.
Eventually he's going to get tired. It's deep. He doesn't reach the surface. As you can see, he's holding on to the ledge with one arm. Then he'll switch off and hold it with the other arm, come down for a couple seconds, and then resurface. He tries. We did see him at several points speaking with police officers, but it seems like he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he has both hands underwater. And it looked like he was maybe lifting up a shirt or scratching his stomach or something.
He's all dressed in black. It looked like he was wearing like black jogging pants, a black T-shirt, and sneakers. We did see he was wearing that when he got out of the original car that he was in at first and got off to when he carjacked the second vehicle.
Yeah, and of course, because this is still going on, and it's hard to get a lot of information from police because they're busy working the active scene right now. But you were telling me, Maribel, that among the things that you've heard is that this man may have had some sort of monitoring device, an ankle device, and may have been wanted by the FBI for what we don't know. We haven't even confirmed that that's the case. But he was running for something. There's got to be a reason. You don't just run to run, and to do so at 7 in the morning. Who knows what this guy was up to or why he thinks that he needs to get away from police, but he's not making it easy for them.
Well, the good news is that they have found him. That you're getting a wider picture of
you can appreciate
you can see
the residential neighborhood
where it is
on the
right
top.
there. You look at on one side of your screen, you see all the police vehicles there. You see the bridge in the upright position on Northwest 27th Avenue. One side is down, the other side is up, not allowing traffic to get through at that point. But again, the good news is that they have found him and they have cornered him and they know that he is there. There you see him. That's the original car that he was in when the police pursuit began. This is around a construction site in Northwest Miami-Dade, near the area where he is in now, and you can see this guy's bold. He stopped there in that construction site, going through floods. Cops at one point, there you're going to see, do approach him.
Attempt to get him to stop.
Attempt to get him to stop, get out of the vehicle,
in the BMW. But you'll see it here. He takes off, and there he goes, and eventually dumps that car, carjacks the other vehicle, which he abandoned at Northwest 27th Avenue and North River Drive. Disappears for a while, and now he's surfaced in the water, but is determined to do something, which is does not include turning himself in, because that could have happened already, and it looks like he's not really cooperating with police.
The SWAT team has been called out as well. They're all here assisting in this situation, which is getting quite tense. Police officers on the boats, they're on the bridge, they're on the land, their guns drawn. This guy is not going anywhere. He really has nowhere else to go, but he's just not giving in. Yeah,
it looks like they may have elevated their response here. Originally, we were seeing police officers with simply bulletproof vests, which they typically wear all the time, responding to this with their guns drawn, but now we're seeing some even with helmets that are now on these boats with their weapons drawn towards this guy. And what you're seeing him do there on the left is what he's been doing for at least a good 20, 30 minutes now. He'll hold on to the wall for a little bit. He'll let go for a little bit. He goes under the water, comes back up, and so on and so forth. On the right there, you see the moment that he carjacked the second vehicle that he led police on a chase in. He drags that woman out of there.
Terrifying moment, I can imagine, for that woman. Unfortunately, it seems that she was in that vehicle, in that car by herself.
Yeah. And takes off again, high rate of speed, not obeying any traffic signals or anything. I saw this when it was happening live earlier this morning. He goes over some medians, eventually dumps the car under the bridge, and then doesn't get very far.
No.
Because, again, on the left there, the slightly delayed images of the current situation in the Miami River here along North River Drive and Northwest 27th Avenue.
Yeah, and again, this has been going on for quite some time right now. As you mentioned earlier, he ditches the car underneath the bridge, and he was missing for close to a half hour, and finally he surfaced there in the water, which is the good news that police do have him, and they're surrounding this guy. This is taking a look. There you can see the boatyard, Northwest 27th Avenue, Miami River. It is an industrial area. However, there are some homes and there are some people who do live on those boats. So again, if you are just joining us, the situation, this is in Allapattah, Northwest 27th Avenue, North River Drive, a tense situation, dozens of police officers, Miami-Dade Police, City of Miami, SWAT team, they're all out there, guns drawn, trying to get this suspect to finally surrender. I mean, this has been going on since 7 o'clock this morning. Our chopper is heading out now to refuel, but take a look at the right side of your screen. That's the original car that he was in. Again, this is a construction site near Northwest Miami-Dade, driving erratically. There you see.
Let me ask your producers a question, if you can clarify this. You said all choppers have to leave right now. Are they being asked by police to back off? Is that what's happening? Okay, yeah, that's what's happening. All choppers are being asked now by police to back off. And oftentimes we see this happening because they're ready to make a move, and because of the sensitivity of the situation and the potential graphic outcome. For everybody's sake, they don't want that broadcasted live over television. Sometimes they do that because they don't want to give away their positioning, et cetera, et cetera. And when that happens, we do as we're told by law enforcement, and that's why we're backing off. But it looks like police are getting ready to make a move here and take this guy in. I'm pretty sure they've had enough at this point. This has been going on for more than 2 hours. I'm sure he's tired, and police aren't, stopping until they get him. Again, this all began at 7 o'clock this morning. It began with a police pursuit in Northwest Miami-Dade. We're talking about a suspect who we're hearing may be wanted by the FBI. Again, none of this has been confirmed, and also that he may have been wearing an ankle monitoring device. Again, that has not been confirmed. However, we can tell you at 7 o'clock this morning, this suspect, armed, dangerous, led police on a chase through the Palmetto Expressway, the Gratney. Then that's 7 a.m. That's people were heading out to go to work. There's school buses out on the roads at that time. So this could have gone really wrong really early on, but it continued. And fortunately, no one was injured at that point. There were no accidents. He was weaving in and out of traffic, driving erratically, which we did see. He carjacked a driver at gunpoint, taking off in a second vehicle, and then coming to a stop there on Northwest 27th Avenue underneath the bridge. Now, again, these are this is video from earlier. Video that was recorded earlier this morning when he resurfaced, because police were looking for him for more than a half hour when he ran out of the vehicle underneath the bridge and resurfaced. So that's a good thing that they know where he is and they have him cornered. Yeah, and again, these are not the delayed live images that we were showing you earlier. This is video from earlier, but the situation by all accounts is still the same. The man there on the water, police could be getting ready to make their move and get this guy, because he doesn't seem to be cooperating and turning himself in, which is why they have asked us to back away our choppers from the scene, because we don't know how this is going to end. But the man, pretty defiant, pretty bold. We saw him, Maribel, when he was in the original vehicle, the almost tan or brown-colored BMW. Police looked like they had him cornered, and he sped away at that point. And then he eventually dumped that BMW, and you see him there carjacking this dark-colored SUV. You see the woman there in the red, the driver of that SUV. He grabs her. He pulls her out of there. It looks like she tried to get away for a moment, but she said, forget this. This isn't worth it. Gets out of the car.
Moment for her.
He takes off. The chase continues, and this goes through several parts of the Allapattah neighborhood until he ends up under the base of the bridge at Northwest 27th Avenue and North River Drive. In that area, I'm familiar with that area, residential on one side, a little industrial on the other, but right across the river, right across the Miami River from that area, there's also the Miami Bridge, which is a center for at-risk youth. So you just don't know, where this person, when he abandoned the car, where he was going to end up. Would he run to one of these, facilities that are in that area? There's a restaurant, and there's the Palacio de los Jugos right down the street from there. He could have gone in there, but he didn't. And the point is, they didn't know where he was for a while. He disappeared for a good 30 minutes or so, and then we saw him surface in the water, not far from the base of that bridge, and that's where we are right now, trying to get this guy out of the water.
And the situation with him is he's not surrendering. He's holding on to that ledge with one arm, then he'll switch off and hold it off with the other arm. He'll go underwater for a couple seconds, come back up. We did see police trying to negotiate with him. We did see a police officer speaking with him, using hand gestures to put up your arms. And this guy is just, he's just not giving in. At one point also, they threw a floating device, so he can, with a rope, so he can grab it and they can bring him in. But he's just... He
didn't even attempt.
He did not even attempt
to grab that.
To do so. We saw him shaking his head. We saw him shaking his head at one point. And again, these are images that were shot a few minutes ago. There you see him talking to police, but...
not somebody who looks like... he's saying, okay, you got me.
No, he's not.
Let's end this. He looks like he's defiant, and he looks like he is not ready to turn himself in. Police, though, apparently have other plans and maybe getting ready to make a move here. We saw them at all times with their guns drawn, aimed at this guy, because, of course, as you saw in the earlier pictures that we were showing you from the carjacking of that second vehicle, he appeared to have a gun at that point. And even though we off and on here see both of his hands as he tries to swim and stay afloat, we don't know what happened to that gun. Did he ditch it at some point? Is it in his pocket? Is it in the water? We just don't know. Police don't know. They're taking every precaution to, of course, be safe themselves, these police officers, as they try to put an end to the situation.
They brought in police boats. As you can see, that's when they were throwing a rope so he can grab onto it with a life jacket, and he's just not budging. He's not giving in. There you see police officers on the boats. You see him on the ground. You see him on the bridge. He's surrounded. He is surrounded, but he's just not giving in. SWAT team has also been called in. Now, we're trying to get information as to why police were pursuing him in the first place. We are hearing possibly wanted by the FBI. He was possibly wearing an ankle monitoring device. However, I'm saying none of this has been confirmed. This is all information that we're hearing at this point. But right now, Miami-Dade PD, City of Miami, SWAT team, they're all very busy trying to get this guy to come out of the water and surrender. This has been going on, again, since 7 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, and I'm seeing here some information from Miami-Dade Police saying that the subject has been located, as we've been showing you, but is not yet in custody. Police negotiators are working the
exact location, did they say?
No, I don't have that exact location. Well, they say the perimeter of Northwest 27th Avenue and North River Drive, which is what we've been talking about, where he abandoned the car. But they're asking people to continue to avoid that area. So this is a fluid situation. Their police still trying to get this guy to reel him in. They've tried everything. They've tried throwing out the flotation device. Nothing. They talk to him. He nods his head. No. They tell him, show us your hands. He only holds on with the one hand. So this guy just being bold, defiant, not making this easy for police this morning on a Friday, when I'm sure they're ready to end their work week and move on.
And I'm sure we had Chopper 4 that was over the scene for quite some time following this chase when it began at 7 o'clock this morning. Miami-Dade police asked us if we can please move.
Yeah, push back.
Push back, because it seems that they're trying to move into this guy, and get him out.
And that's why we have that wider view that you're seeing here on the left of your screen. On the right of the screen, some earlier video of near when this started, so just after 7 a.m. or so, and the man making a run for it there in the original vehicle that he led police on a chase in, a dark-colored, almost like a dark tan or brown BMW SUV. And you see the police officers there trying to stop him, but he doesn't quit then. Driving through what looks like a muddy construction zone or some sort of yard, makes a run for it there, eventually hijacks the second vehicle, and we are where we are after he abandons that second vehicle. They did lose sight of him for a while, and it almost seemed like we weren't sure where this was going. Did he get away? Was he successful? But nope, that is not the case. They have their guy in the water. They just do not have him in handcuffs yet, and that's what we're all waiting to see here.
Chopper 4 is back now on the scene with, but they've been asked to push back on the video. So right now you're taking a look at police boats that are there surrounding this suspect who is in the water and has been in the water for more than an hour now.
Yeah, and here's a fuller view of what's happening on a slight delay. And again, we are just moved it back a little bit because we're not sure how this is going to end. But you can see in the bow of these boats, this Miami-Dade police boat, you see some officers there with what appears to be bulletproof jackets, still with their weapons drawn, apparently trying to negotiate some sort of surrender. The latest information from Miami-Dade police is that their negotiators are there on the scene talking to this person to turn himself in, and it doesn't seem like he's wanting to comply with their orders. So we continue watching this situation. Again, if you're just joining us, this is in the area of Northwest 27th Avenue and North River Drive. That's right along the Miami River in Miami's Allapattah neighborhood. Originally started elsewhere in Northwest Miami-Dade. A police chase that took Miami-Dade police officers through the Palmetto Expressway, through the Gratney, ending up where we are now in the city of Miami, specifically in the Allapattah neighborhood. And that's why you have these different departments here now working together. You see there Miami-Dade police on the left, that boat with the green Bahama top or bimini top, as people might call it. And then on the right, the officers in the blue and black, that's City of Miami police, also responding to this scene.
And again, this is on the north side of the bridge. Here on the Miami River. The man is holding on to the wall. Again, the north side of the bridge. He is refusing to come out. Police have been out here for quite some time after he led them on a chase that began at 7 o'clock this morning. So again, this has been going on for quite some time. Again, if you're just joining us, this is all happening in Allapattah, Northwest 27th Avenue, North River Drive. Again, this is a boat yard, but there are also some homes that are in the area. Now, police, as you can see, those are police boats. They are surrounding a suspect who is dangerous, who at 7 o'clock this morning was fleeing police. They were chasing him. Again, we did see him on the Palmetto Expressway, on the Gratney, weaving in and out of traffic, driving erratically. And again, I mentioned it was the peak of the morning rush hour, and fortunately no one was injured at that point. He also carjacked a vehicle around the area of Northwest Miami-Dade near Allapattah, and at gunpoint forced the driver to get out of the vehicle. It appeared to be an older woman who was in that vehicle. He pulled her out of the car, got into the vehicle, and then drove under the bridge on Northwest 27th Avenue, and that's where he stopped, ran out of the car, and was hiding for close to a half hour. Police were looking for him all over the area, and finally he resurfaced in the water. It seemed like he had been hiding there. And that's where we are at this point. As you can see, there's also apartment buildings that are there along the river. So if you are just joining us, keep in mind there's a large police presence in that area because there is a suspect who is dangerous and was armed. We can't confirm if he's still armed at this point, but we do know that he was armed at some point. He is in the water on the north side of the bridge there along North River Drive and 27th Avenue.
Yeah, and as we wait for this to play out, and we're going to stay with this, if we just kind of reflect on the carjacking aspect of it, really speaks to how careless this guy is and was this morning, because like you mentioned, this was rush hour. This is also the time when people are taking their kids to school. He didn't know there was a child in the back seat getting ready to go to school. He just dragged that woman out of that car and took off. So really somebody who, if you look at what has transpired in the past 2 hours and 20 minutes now, it tells you the disregard that this person may have for others' safety and security, including possibly the safety and security of these police officers, which is why they're being so cautious as they try to bring this all to an end now. And again, this has been going on since 7 in the morning. They've been following this guy around. It appeared as though they lost him for a bit. He resurfaces. You'd think it's over. And we're going on now, what, 40 minutes of this guy bobbing in and out of the water, refusing to turn himself in when they threw him a flotation device, refusing apparently to show both arms, even though we have seen both hands and it appears that he has nothing in his hands. So just being very, very defiant until police finally asked us and other media flying helicopters over the scene to please back off and when that happens, just from experience, it seems like they're getting ready to make a move, and they ask you to back off because you don't know how these situations are going to turn out, and it could be very graphic, and we would not want to broadcast that.
Absolutely not, and obviously, as you were saying, this guy is very bold.
They're bringing in the big boat now. This is on a slight delay here, and you see another boat here approaching.
There you see, there's more than 24 police officers, the city of Miami, Miami-Dade police, SWAT team, they're all out there. They also brought in their big Miami-Dade fire rescue. Fire rescue is now out here on the scene. Now the problem with the suspect is, again, we did see a police officer trying to negotiate with him. He just wasn't budging. He was shaking his head. He was saying no. Again, she was asking him. You can tell from her gesture. She was gesturing both of her arms up. He was shaking his head no. At one point, he was holding the wall with one arm.
Yeah, let me bring your attention to this fire rescue boat, because I just saw somebody walk out of the back of that boat with what looked like some sort of like a flotation device in his hand. So this could be one of at least two things. Either number one, the man doesn't know how to swim, and they're going to try to get out to him to pick him up. Or number two, police think this could turn ugly, and they need fire rescue nearby for any emergency
getting a stretcher.
medical situation.
It seemed like the stretcher that they're pulling out of the fireboat, and we did see someone what appears to be wearing a wetsuit right now on that boat at this point. So
I'll tell you how.
Very tense situation. I can only imagine just out there. They're just waiting. Their guns all drawn. They're wearing their bulletproof vests. SWAT team is out there as well. This guy is just not giving in. Again, as I mentioned, the good news is that they know where he is and they do have him cornered.
Yeah, we're seeing something just beyond the boat. I don't know if we can get it closer. I know we're not really supposed to get any closer to this, but it looks like there's some sort of a tarp or something on the ground. Not sure what that is, but we'll just continue watching the situation here and see exactly what the people from the fire rescue boat are doing. It looks like that is a tarp or something on the river bend there. Trying to get confirmation as to what that is. We'll continue watching the developments here, but you see.
Okay, we're just being told right now from the producer that it appears he may be out of the water. Okay. He may be out of the water, but again, because we've been asked to please stay back, we cannot get a clearer picture of the situation right now that's going on there.
Can we see the original three boats that we were looking at? Are they still on the bow? Are the police officers still with their guns drawn, or does it look like they've backed off? I don't know if we can try to get a shot of that. Because that would be, is that a yes or no? We don't know. Okay, yeah, we don't have a shot of that right now. That would be indicative of, that negotiation being over and something else happening here. But
we do see a stretcher.
Yeah, we see a stretcher there. You see that orange board in the background. That's a fire rescue stretcher. I don't even want to try to come up with what's happening here. We're just going to have to watch this and see how this plays out. But all the focus now seems to be around this fire rescue boat. And just by the sheer number of police officers standing about, there on the other side of the river. They look
They're
a little
just
more
standing
relaxed.
They're more relaxed. They don't have their guns drawn. They're just standing there right now at this point. So again,
something may have transpired when they asked us to push back.
To push back,
now we just
exactly.
need to wait for confirmation on that.
So again, if you're just joining us live right now, this is a tense situation in Allapattah. This is on North River Drive and 27th Avenue near the bridge. There was a suspect who was armed. Earlier this morning, he led police on a chase that began at 7 o'clock this morning. He carjacked an elderly driver at gunpoint, forced her out of the vehicle, got into her car, then drove to this area, stopped his car underneath that bridge, bolted out of the car. He was he was hiding from police for close to a half hour, and finally he resurfaced. He was in the water holding on to the wall, the north side of that bridge.
Not far from where he abandoned the car.
Not far at all. Not far at all. At first we weren't sure whether he had gone into another vehicle and had left the scene. But again, this man was armed. We don't know if he's still armed. He is obviously very dangerous. We're hearing reports that he may be wanted by the FBI, also wearing an ankle monitoring device. None of this has been confirmed. This is all information that we are hearing.
Okay, I have an update here from Miami-Dade Police. I'm sorry, Maribel, to cut you off there. Miami-Dade Police saying that the subject is in custody, though the scene is still active. But in custody, that's significant because before they had only said that that they had located him, but that he was not in custody. Now they're saying that he is in custody. There's additional information to follow. This, however, is still an active scene, and they're asking people who are trying to navigate around this area of Northwest 27th Avenue and North River Drive to find alternate routes. So, and yes, I am just getting now a second confirmation that the suspect is in custody. So it looks like this is now over. Not sure how this ended. We're going to try to figure that out and find that out and get confirmation from officials. But apparently this transpired when police asked us to back off from the scene, which is pretty indicative that they were getting ready to make a move, and this was going to be over soon.
So again, the good news is this suspect who was armed led police on a chase at 7 o'clock this morning, ending at 9:27 this morning. Police have confirmed that they do have this suspect in custody at this point. Dozens of police officers, Miami-Dade, City of Miami, SWAT team, all working together to get this guy, and they have just confirmed that he is in custody.
All right, for Maribel Rodriguez and myself, Eugene Ramirez, thank you for sticking with CBS 4 News as we followed this developing story all morning. You can find more on CBS 4 News at noon and on our website, cbsmiami.com. We go back now to our regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, what do you think?
I'm a sucker for luscious red lips like that. I mean, the question is, would you use this on a regular basis? Is this in advance or not necessarily?
I would not use it on a regular basis. I would try it again, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great way to, really up your wardrobe or up your game for those special occasions and super long days.
Yeah, and I would say from a dermatologic and a skincare standpoint, that's probably really reasonable and where I would put this product.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, there you have it. More to come.
Coming up, one of the world's most popular beauty bloggers opens